Today on FTRTV we go from this to this. G'day everyone, my name is David Meyer and welcome back to First Time Reefer TV. Now it's been a long time between videos because life has got pretty crazy busy. Baby's taking a lot of time, life in general, work, etc. That's how it goes, right? And unfortunately the tank has suffered a little bit because it hasn't had time for maintenance. But we're just going to get into it today, give the tank a good scrub down, clean everything up, reset all the skimmers and all that sort of stuff and get the refugium going. And everything's actually still been going pretty well with the corals in the tank. So I've got a video coming up about my corals as well. But we can get the tank looking spick and span. And I'll run through the steps as to exactly how we're going to do it and how I'm going to tackle this tank. So let's go check it out. Okay, so I've scrubbed down the glass now, got rid of all the algae off the glass, let it float around, get it caught up by the filter in the sump, let the filter sock catch most of it as much as we can. I'm going to get a brush now and just brush all the rocks just to get rid of all the stuff that's stuck on the rock, to try and make sure as much of inside the tank is as clean as possible. Looks like I may have lost a coral, but let's get it all cleared up and see how it goes. We've scrubbed the tank out and all the glass is clean. Sand was actually relatively clean. Some of the corals actually grown quite well as well. I've got the A-cans, which have got quite a few extra heads on there. Now before I do a water change, I'm just going to jump into the sump, give the skimmer a good clean out. I'm going to raise the height of the skimmer a little bit because I don't think it's skimming properly with the depth of water that it's in at the moment. Set up the refugium, give that a bit of a clean out. Then once I've set all that up, changed over the filter sock, then we'll do a water change, and I've got a new salt that I'm going to give a go and see what results is going to come from that. But we'll find out what salt I'm going to use when I show you guys, and I'll show you guys how to mix it as well. As you can see, the skimmer depth is pretty high up on the skimmer here. Obviously the skim's all messed up because it's not tuned in properly and the tank's probably been going a bit nuts. So I'm going to pull out the skimmer, give it a full scrub down, clean it all out, clean out this whole skimmer chamber. I'm also going to change this heater because I don't think it fits properly, and I think I've got a better heater, and I'll show you guys that. And then we'll raise the height of the skimmer and then we'll see how it goes from there. Okay, so while I've got the sump apart and I'm cleaning it all out, I've cleaned the skimmer, it's completely clean. I've checked the pump as well to make sure everything's okay. And it's nice and clean now. I'm going to take the chance to take out this Eheim heater that I just don't think heats up the tank enough. And I'm going to change it to the WayPro titanium heater that I got from Fish Street. This one is an electronically controlled thermostat heater with a titanium actual heating element The heating element itself is actually much smaller than the Eheim Jaeger that I've got in there, and I'm hoping that it's going to fit a little bit better and just hold temperature just a lot better as well. So we'll open it up, we'll check out what's inside. So it's packed pretty well. I've read a couple of reviews and they seem to be alright. So you got the heating element here, which is titanium. I think it's about 25 centimeters or so long, which is a lot shorter than the Eheim heater that I've got in there at the moment. It should fit a lot better, and I'm not going to be scared about breaking it with fiddling around in the sump. So that connects to the controller, which is this unit here. You can control the temperature there on a dial, and I believe it displays the temperature up there, and that's just going to sit on the side of the arcade cabinet there. So then you can have a quick look to make sure your temperature is going to be okay. I think this is going to be much better, like I said, because it's a smaller heating element. It's much thinner in diameter. It's titanium and not glass, and let's hope that there's going to be no issues with this unit. So let's get into the sump now, and then we'll put the protein skimmer back in and get everything started again. So I've got the Eheim that sits at the front of the tank of the sump here. As you can see, it sort of barely fits, even the water line, just when it's there, sort of just enough. So we'll get rid of this unit now. And this one here's a new heating element. As you can see, the size comparison is significantly different profile wise, so it's much thinner, a little bit shorter, so it should fit in the sump quite nicely. We'll get the cable through the hole first. As you can see, the heating element now just stands straight up. That's probably going to be the lowest the water's ever going to be in this tank. So the fit is just much better. It's out of the way. It's not glass, I'm not going to be scared of breaking it. It's 300 watts instead of 150. So I think overall a much better heating option for me. But we'll see how it performs heating wise and whether they last probably is the most important thing. We'll get the skimmer back in as well. Now with the skimmer back in, there's a lot more space here. I can see what's happening inside. Heater's out of the way. We'll get it all connected back up. I haven't got any egg crate to raise this skimmer yet, so I'll have to find some and raise it and then tune the skimmer back in and see how it performs. So I've let the tank settle now for about a day after I've cleaned all the crap off the glass and let the filter salt pick up as much of it as I can after stirring everything up. We're going to do a water change today. I'm going to change salt, which I'm really excited about. So I've heard a lot of great reviews about the Aquaforest probiotic reef salt, the Aquaforest range in general. I've been hearing really positive reviews about. So I'm probably going to end up switching this tank to a full Aquaforest system, which is probably their component 1, 2, 3 dosing. And then looking at all of their other additives down the track. So the probiotic reef salt has their probiotic additives in there, so it's their step up just from their normal reef salt. And I figure with the tank now sort of we're filling in with quite a lot of corals, it's probably time to change to a new salt and sort of see and gauge what the effects are going to be like with using a better quality salt. So we're going to go through mixing the salt now. The salt mixes at 33 ppt at 3.75 kilos to the 100 litres. So I'm doing a 30 litre water change today. So I'm going to end up using 1.125 kilos of salt to a 30 litre drum to get a salinity of 1.0249. It's a bit like science. So it's very simple and straightforward to mix. You just weigh it out, chuck it into your drum with a little bit of a wave maker or a power head just to circulate the water around, so then all the salt can dissolve into the RO water. Now I'm going to say the probiotic reef salt that I've got, it's really fine compared to what I was using before, and it dissolves really easily. And you can see that after about 10-15 minutes of mixing in the drum, that the water's actually completely clear. So I'm going to do a water test as well. So I've taken a little bit out there just so I can test to see what the parameters are like just from mixing it with RO. And then I'll see what the salinity and everything, how it affects the parameters in the tank once that's done. So I've got the Milwaukee refractometer that I can measure my salinity off. Temperature for the water is already matching my tank. So it's just going ahead and doing a water change on the tank. Now, doing a water change on my tank, I've got to turn off my skimmer, got to turn off my return pump, let the water settle down into the sump. So then I've got that water level down there, and then I start siphoning water from the tank, and then slowly adding the new mixed water back in. Now, I wasn't sure whether I had to do like a big water change when you're changing salt, or just a little bit at a time, but jumped on one of the forums called Marine Aquarium Fanatics Australia on Facebook, which is a great page for me to get a lot of information from. And I was given the suggestion to just do it as a sort of 10% weekly water change to slowly ease it over, especially because it's got all the probiotic additives in there. So we'll go ahead and do a water change now, and then come back and have a look at the tank, and then see how it's going. Hopefully everything looks happy after a water change. I know the tank is looking really clean. Alrighty, so water change is done in the tank. Everything's scrubbed down. Tank's looking really good again. Corals are slowly adjusting, I think, to a little bit of water. They've just retracted a little bit, but we'll find out what they're probably going to be more like tomorrow. I'm going to say with the Aquaforest salt, I'm a big fan because it mixes a lot better. It's a much finer powder. I'm still yet to test the water parameters, so we'll see what they come up like. But I think overall, I'm going to be really happy to switch over to Aquaforest and see what it can do for the tank. And I'd love to see if it brings on a lot more colors on all the coral as well. So that's pretty much an update of where the tank's at the moment. There'll be plenty of more updates coming. I've got a lot of stuff that I've got to add to the tank. I want to start stacking a lot more corals and getting this tank a lot more automated in regards to dosing, etc., so then it can free up a lot more time for me to shoot videos rather than looking after the tank. So don't forget to give the video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you think it's any good, and if you want to keep following information and videos about my tank, definitely subscribe. But until next time, guys, peace!